Hey friends, it's Lil. Welcome back to my booktube channel. Today I'll be doing my May reading wrap up. Alright, so moving out of April into May, the expectations were high, especially because April I had 4 5-star books, so that bar was set pretty high for May. Let's just say May fell quite short of that bar. A little bit of a disappointing reading month. I did read a lot of books. I read 12 books, but I had 0 5-star reads and I only had 1 4.5-star read. So really easy to tell for me to figure out what my top read of the month was, but very disappointed that just none of the books had that 5-star feeling energy going for them for me. So hopefully June, fingers crossed, I can finally find a 5-star read that wasn't a reread. So far, a little bit into June, that hasn't happened yet, but fingers crossed, staying optimistic that I'll find a couple 5-star reads this month. But let's go back to May. Let's talk about the 12 books that I read that month. So kicking it off, I read a very popular Bookstagram, BookTube, BookTok book, Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. And if you know me at all, you know I have this thing with really popular books that a lot of the times they don't work out for me, and that's kind of the same case with this one. I ended up rating it 2 stars, so I just didn't love it. I was told it was YA, and I think it's YA. It takes place in high school, but it's definitely not YA. The language, the content of the book was not YA, so that kind of threw me off. The plot line was very repetitive and I got really bored. I think I essentially ended up skimming like 80% of the book, which I hate doing, but I was hoping with it being as hyped up as it was that it would get better for me, but unfortunately it didn't. I will not be continuing with the series just because I'm not going to push myself to read something that I really don't want to. So I did end up having a couple friends on Bookstagram kind of spoil the rest of the series for me just so I can kind of know what happens. But that was kind of a bummer start to May. Oh well, they're not always going to work out for us. Next up, we had The Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune, and I'm a big lover of Every Summer After. I gave that book 5 stars. Obviously, it's a second chance romance, so of course I was gonna love it. I didn't love Meet Me at the Lake. I gave it 2 stars, and this one I gave 2.5, so it's a little bit better. What I did love about this one is if you're looking for a rom-com that has like quintessential summer vibes, it takes place in like the Northeast in Canada. Prince Edward Island. Perfect summer vibes. Like I would love to go vacation there. That book made me want to go vacation there immediately. But a couple qualms with the book. I didn't really connect with either of the characters. It was kind of giving insta love for me, even though he had kind of been pining after her for a while. There was a lot of talk about her wearing these like granny nightgowns with ribbons on them. That was just kind of icky to me. Just kind of threw me off. And then they ate this is like so stupid, but they ate so many oysters, and I just don't understand how people can eat that many oysters in the span of like a week. So perfect summer vibes. Like it would be a great quick beach read or pool read. I just didn't love it. I'd recommend if you loved Carly Fortune's other books because the writing style is obviously very similar and just the summer vibes are perfect. But I didn't love the characters, didn't really love the plot, and just wasn't invested at all. Next up, we had my favorite read of May, which was Not Safe for Work by Lindsay Lanza. This book pubs in June, so it hasn't pubbed yet. I gave it 4.5 stars. It didn't quite hit that 5-star feeling for me, but I still did absolutely love it. I thought that the 2 main characters were super fun. Our female main character, she's very outgoing. Our male main character, he's kind of like a golden retriever dude, absolutely obsessed with her. And I just loved it. Would definitely recommend pairing this book with a nice glass of wine, but it'll be a perfect little summer rom-com for everyone to enjoy, and it is by an indie author, so you'll be able to get it on Kindle Unlimited, or you could buy the physical copy if you want. But definitely my favorite book of May, and I just love Lindsay Lons's writing style, and I can't wait to read her future books as well. Next up, we had another e-arc, which was 1,000 Sunsets by Kayla Martin. This is a debut novel for this author, and I absolutely loved it. Again, perfect summer vibes. It takes place in like a camping setting. They go on a family vacation. Female main character has a kind of little fling with the lifeguard, one of the lifeguards, and it was just, again, perfect summer vibes. I wanted to be reading this book at the pool, at the beach. Would have been ideal if I was reading it on a camping vacation by a lake, but I live in Florida, and going outside with bugs is just not going to happen for me. I gave this book 3.5 stars. It wasn't my favorite, but it was a very solid debut novel, and I think Kayla really set a ground level for her to kind of build up on her next few books. It will be like an interconnected standalone series, so some of the characters in this book we'll see in future books in the series as well, so I'm really excited for that, and kind of hoping they'll all be summer vibes, but we shall see. Definitely recommend you guys go pick this one up since it is out already. Next up, we have Powerful by Lauren Roberts, which is a novella that followed up Powerless. I gave this one 4 stars, and really only because I have such a hard time reading novellas, because most of the time I want them to be a full-length novel, and that's really the case with this one too. It follows one of the side characters from Powerless, and I loved her as a character in that book, so I was really excited for her to have her own little novella and kind of romance come about from it. But oh my gosh, this one really put me in my feels, and it was just so good. I just wished it was longer, so that we had more time to really connect with the female main character and the male main character, but nonetheless a great novella and perfect little book to kind of hold us over until the next book in the Powerless series comes out. Next, we had Only in Forever by Chloe Leese, which is the last book in the Bergman Brothers series, and I was so sad to finish this series because I've loved all the books. This has happened to me before with other interconnected standalone series, is that it was the last book, but it was my least favorite. I did love the 2 main characters. I was able to connect with them. I don't know, there was something missing. It just wasn't my favorite, and a lot of the books in this Bergman Brothers series are such standouts to me that this one just kind of fell flat. I gave it 3.5 stars. I would still recommend it. It's a great book and a lot of great representation going on in it as well. Just wasn't my favorite. And I kind of wish I could have ended with a 5-star read for the last book in that series, but that's okay. I think I'll just be due for a reread of some of my favorites in the future. For my 7th book, we had The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center, and this one was highly anticipated for me. I've loved some of her past books, and I haven't liked some of her past books, and this one kind of falls in the middle. I gave it 3 stars. Again, I don't know what it was in May. I think I'm in a slump, and I feel bad that I'm rating all these books low because so many of these authors deserve high rankings for their books, but I just didn't vibe with them last month. Just couldn't really connect to either of the 2 main characters. I thought the male main character was rude at the beginning, and he kind of stayed rude for a good portion of the book, and then all of a sudden he was okay with everything that was going on and was nice to our female main character. But that just really threw me off. I wasn't invested in the plot line. They both kind of acted a little childish, so I don't know. I truly don't know. I have some friends who really loved this book, and then I have some friends who also kind of felt the same way that I did. So let me know when you finally get to this what your thoughts are, but for me it was just kind of okay and meh at 3 stars. Next up, we have another e-arc. This one is Riding the Sugar High by Letizia Lurini. I think I'm pronouncing her name right, but I apologize if I'm not. I gave this one 2 stars. I'm not going to talk about it too much because it was an early arc. I just didn't love it. I think other people might, but the plot was kind of all over the place for me, and there was insta-love, and I didn't really like either of the 2 main characters, so that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Just wasn't my favorite. I loved The Wedding Menu by her, so I'm sure I'll like future work. This one just didn't hit for me. Next, we have The Rule Book by Sarah Adams, and I'm a sucker for a good Sarah Adams book, and I was so happy to be back in the same universe as The Cheat Sheet, which I have on my shelf here, which I love. I really love this book. I loved Nora and Derek. I loved Nora and Derek. I thought their relationship dynamic was fun. It was another second chance romance, so big shocker that I enjoyed it. There's just so much to love about it. I loved our little cameos of our characters, Bree and Nathan from The Cheat Sheet too. So it was just a super fun time. It wasn't a huge standout to me, so not that 5-star ranking, but 4 stars is it's still a pretty solid ranking for me for a book, and I would definitely recommend this if you love The Cheat Sheet and if you just love Sarah Adams in general like I do. Next, we had Between Shades of Grey by Ruta Sepetys. This was a historical fiction. We chose it for book club this month. I gave it 3.5 stars. It follows a different aspect of World War II. Different in that it's not focused on most of the same stuff that we're seeing in other World War II historical fiction books. And while I did really love the story, I think I might have enjoyed it more if I had done it as an ebook or physical rather than audio. And it's written in a way where it's just kind of telling you exactly what happens. You don't really connect emotionally to any of the characters. I didn't cry at parts that I thought I really should be crying in, especially when you're comparing historical fiction books to like Kristen Hanna, where she's going to make you sob all the time. That's kind of what I expect in other historical fiction books that focus on similar topics, and that just wasn't the case for me for this book. We had a lot of great discussions in book club about this one, so definitely recommend it as like a book club pick. I think historical fiction books are great for book club because you can really dissect them, look into all the characters, but it was a good book. I liked being able to look at that different aspect of World War II and what people were going through at that time. I just think it's fascinating, and reading historical fiction always makes me want to research the topic more. But this one just, again, kind of missed the mark for me. 3.5 stars, still a solid rating. Might have been higher if I would have done it in a different format. Next, we have a reread. So I don't include rereads as favorite books of the month just because most of the time they were a favorite book of a month for me in the past. But for rereads, I'm obviously going to include them in these wrap-ups because I always have such a fun time doing them. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to caveat that this was a reread. It was still 5 stars, but it's not my favorite book of the month because I've read it before. And it was a favorite book of the month in like 2022. So I have to give the new books a chance, you know? That's just, do with it what you will. You can do your own thing. If you want to make a reread a favorite book of a month multiple times, go for it. I just try to do new reads that I haven't read before as favorite books of the month. But also, like, it's Ennis Perkins. It's The Infinity Between Us by Ennis Perkins. So of course, it was going to be a 5-star read again. I tabbed this one as I've been doing with all of my rereads of her books and Emily Henry, and there are so many tabs on this one. I loved it. I love Will and Violet so much. We love a solid second chance romance that is set in the summertime with the perfect vibes, make you emotional. The letters, something about Ennis Perkins is that she's always going to include letters somewhere in her books, and they're always going to make you super emotional, and they did again. And I just am such a sucker for her books, so I will never shut up about them. But 5 stars from me, and I really enjoyed this reread and getting to talk about it with one of my friends. And then lastly, to end out May, I read How to End a Love Story by Yulin Quang. I also might be pronouncing that wrong. I apologize in advance. I gave this one 3 stars. It just wasn't a standout for me. I read this one physically. I read my mom's copy of Book of the Month, and I think it was the writing style for me. The writing style was a lot different than what I'm used to reading, so maybe that's why I didn't love it. I couldn't really connect to either of the characters. Again, I think this book was supposed to make me emotional, and it really didn't. But I have heard a lot of people talking about how the song from the Tortured Poets Department, Guilty as Sin, is this book. And I totally agree about that. So if you love that song, read this book. But, you know, it was 3 stars. It was solid. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't reread it, but I'd still recommend it to other people. So a lot of 3 stars, a lot of 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5 star reads in May, but what are you gonna do? It's fine. Let's talk about some of the final stats for the month. I read 2 physical books, 9 ebooks, and then I listened to 1 audiobook. My favorite book was Not Safe for Work by Lindsay Alonza. My least favorite was Riding the Sugar High. I read 5 library books, and I think I saved like $70, somewhere around there, $60 to $70, which we love some good library savings. I read 4 e-arcs, which is probably one of the biggest month of e-arcs that I've had in a while. And then I read 4,619 pages for an average star rating of 3.33, which I think is, if it's not the lowest of the year, yeah, it is the lowest of the year. We're hoping for June that average star rating goes up because I'm in need of some great books in June. So if you have any good recommendations for me, let me know. Right now, let's talk about my June TBR really quick, or my June hopefuls. So it's already June 10th when I'm filming this, which is, we love being late for a BookTube. I read Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan, For the Record by Juliana Smith, and Alive and Wells by Bailey Hanna. I will talk more about those in my June reading wrap-up, but they weren't 5-star reads for me. I need a book to really suck me in right now, and it's just nothing is hitting. So I'm rereading Book Lovers by Emily Henry in June, which obviously is going to be a 5 stars for a reread, but again, I can't count it as a favorite book of the month. So some other books that are high on my TBR and maybe have the potential for a 5-star rating. We have Mistakes We Never Made by Hannah Brown, which I haven't been seeing good reviews for, so I'm probably setting myself up for failure with that one. But I'm going to try it anyways. Maybe I'll enjoy it. If not, I'm not going to be super disappointed in it because I'm just not really expecting it to be a 5-star book. But who knows? Maybe it'll take me by surprise. Hello, bird. Then we have Because of Us by Nina Arata, which I haven't heard a lot about this book, but the cover is stunning, and it's a second chance romance, I believe. So, second chance romance and me? Maybe we'll see. And then a couple other ones are Speechless by Lindsay Alonza, which is the only book by her that I haven't read yet. Seems like perfect summer vibes, so I have to squeeze it in either in June or in July. And I have The Winners by Frederick Backman, which I'm thinking is probably going to be 5 stars. I'm going to do it on audio and buddy read it with some friends. I'm nervous for it because I've been told that it'll rip my heart out, but it's fine. Maybe that's what I need. Maybe that's what I need. It's just my heart to be ripped out for it to be a 5-star book. We'll see. And then the last one I'll mention is The Love That Split the World by Emily Henry. This is actually her debut book, and I'm reading it for book club this month. I'm hopeful that I will enjoy it. I think it's going to be on the same level as Book Lovers, Happy Place, Funny Story, Beach Read, People We Meet on Vacation? Probably not, but I'm hoping just, for the vibes that I'll like it, and it's Emily Henry, so I'm gonna love her writing style either way. So that was my May reading wrap up, a little bit of a conversation about some of my June hopefuls. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love doing these reading wrap ups because then I'm able to look back on it in the future and see what I thought about certain books. I'm always hesitant to be certain detailed in my reviews because if people haven't read them yet, I would hate to spoil something. And yeah, I usually don't even talk about characters' names, but if that's something that you guys are wanting, is like more detailed thoughts, me talking about more details about the book, let me know and I can start doing that in future wrap-up videos. And also let me know if there's any other videos that you guys are wanting to see from me soon. I truly don't have anything planned, so booktube's kind of like on my back burner right now of doing content for, so I really only am planning to do these reading wrap-ups and then maybe some videos here and there. Might be having a vlog come to you guys in August after I have a trip with some Bookstagram friends, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, happy June, happy summer. I hope you guys have some fun reads planned for the summertime, some fun trips, some fun plans going on, and I have a feeling that the summer is going to be one for the books. So wishing you guys a happy June, and I will see you at the end of the month, early July, for my reading wrap up. But in the meantime, happy reading. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!